Have you ever thought that being strong only means having muscles, lifting heavy things, or running fast? Most people think that strength is all about the body, about the visible, the tangible. But I want to tell you something. True strength is invisible. It is not measured in kilograms or in the number of push-ups you can do. True strength lies in your mind, your heart, and your soul. It is the quiet courage that allows you to stand tall when life knocks you down. It is the resilience that helps you smile even when everything inside you wants to scream. I remember a friend of mine, someone I deeply admired. On the outside, he looked ordinary. He didn't have a very muscular frame. He wasn't the fastest runner. And he didn't boast of any remarkable physical skills. But the one thing he had that made him extraordinary was inner strength. Life had thrown challenge after challenge at him. His business failed twice. He faced betrayal from people he trusted. He lost loved ones. And yet, every time he fell, he got up. Every time he was broken, he mended himself with hope. That is what true strength is. It is the ability to keep going when there seems to be no reason to continue, when the odds are against you, when the world seems to have forgotten you. Strength is not about never feeling fear. It is about acknowledging fear and choosing courage anyway. I want you to think for a moment about your own life. How often have you avoided speaking your truth? Because you were scared of judgment. How often have you stayed silent because you were afraid of conflict or rejection? The body might appear strong, but without inner strength, the mind becomes a prisoner of doubt, and the heart becomes heavy with regret. Strength is when you speak up, even when your voice trembles. Strength is when you act, even when you feel uncertain. Strength is when you persist, even when failure seems inevitable. Let me share a story from my own life. There was a time when I felt completely helpless. Circumstances were beyond my control. People I depended on let me down. And it seemed like every door I tried to open was locked. I could have given up. I could have blamed the world. I could have said, "This is impossible." But something inside me whispered, "This is not the end. You are stronger than you think." I discovered that inner strength grows when you refuse to give up, when you choose to rise even when there is no applause, when you keep going even when nobody is watching. Physical strength might impress the eyes, but inner strength impresses life itself. Inner strength is also about patience. Often, we confuse strength with aggression, with force. But the strongest people I have known are not those who shout the loudest or hit the hardest. They are the ones who remain calm in storms, who hold themselves steady when everything around them is falling apart. They understand that life is a long journey, and the challenges we face are like weights in the gym. Each difficulty we endure, each setback we overcome, makes our inner muscles stronger. Patience is part of strength because it allows us to endure, to persist, and to transform adversity into opportunity. There is another aspect of strength that people often overlook: emotional strength. It takes courage to face your own emotions honestly. It takes courage to acknowledge your sadness, your fear, your anger. And it takes even more courage to choose love, compassion, and forgiveness instead of bitterness. I have seen people who were physically fit but emotionally fragile. And I have seen others who were physically frail but emotionally indestructible. Guess which ones truly inspired those around them? The answer is clear. Strength is felt in the heart before it is seen in the body. And here is the most beautiful part: inner strength is not fixed. It is not something you either have or don't have. It is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. Every challenge you face, every fear you confront, every moment you choose courage over comfort, you are strengthening your inner self. The key is awareness. Most people ignore their inner strength because they are busy comparing themselves to others, looking at someone else's muscles, someone else's success, someone else's life. But true strength is personal, quiet, and unique. It is about being the strongest version of yourself, not trying to outdo someone else. So, whenever life tests you, whenever you feel weak or inadequate, remember this: strength is not about how hard you hit. Strength is about how gracefully you rise after every fall. It is about how patiently you endure when things don't go your way. It is about how lovingly you treat yourself and others, even in the hardest moments. Strength is not a spectacle, it is a silent, persistent force that lives in your heart, your mind, and your spirit. And one day, when you look back, you will realize that the true victories in life were not the ones everyone applauded. The true victories were the moments when you chose to stand up, when you chose courage over fear, hope over despair, and love over bitterness. That is the kind of strength that changes your life. That is the strength that inspires others. That is the strength that lasts forever. So, my dear friends, remember, be strong. Not just with your body, but with your heart. Be strong, not just with your voice, but with your thoughts. Be strong, not just when people are watching, but especially when no one is around. True strength is the quiet, unwavering power within you, and it is yours if you choose to nurture it, believe in it, and live it every single day. Have you ever noticed how in the middle of a storm, when the wind is howling and the rain is pouring, some people seem almost untouchable? They are not running around panicking. They are not shouting or blaming anyone. They are calm. They may not have control over the storm, but they have control over themselves. And that is the essence of calmness. The ability to remain steady, centered, and composed, even when the world around you is falling apart. Calmness is often misunderstood. Many people think calmness means being passive, indifferent, or disconnected from life. But that is far from the truth. Calmness is an active state. It is not a weakness. It is a power. It is the power to observe clearly, to think rationally, and to act wisely when everything around you is chaotic. Think of it this way: if your mind is a calmness, is when the water is still, reflecting everything clearly. If the water is turbulent, you see only distorted images, and you cannot navigate effectively. Calmness allows you to see life as it is, without the distortions of panic, anger, or fear. Let me share a story from my own life. There was a time when everything seemed to go wrong at once. Deadlines piled up at work, relationships were strained, health concerns surfaced, and I remember feeling completely overwhelmed. At first, I panicked. My mind raced. I tried to control things that were beyond my control. I lost sleep. I lost focus. And in that chaos, I realized something important. None of my frantic efforts were helping. In fact, they were making things worse. Then I paused. I took a deep breath. I reminded myself that calmness is not about ignoring problems. but about facing them with clarity and composure. And as I allowed myself to settle, I noticed solutions emerging that I had completely missed in my panic. That is the magic of calmness. It clears the fog of confusion and opens the door to wisdom. Calmness is a shield in life's chaos. Life is unpredictable. Storms will come. People will disappoint you. Circumstances will test you. But if you cultivate calmness, no external event can shake you. You may feel pressure, but you will not be crushed. You may feel tension, but it will not control your actions. Calmness is like a strong fortress that protects your mind and heart from the arrows of stress, anger, and despair. Think about it for a moment. How often do we make mistakes, not because we lack skill or knowledge, but because we react impulsively? How often do arguments escalate, relationships break, and opportunities slip away simply because we allowed our emotions to take over? Calmness is the antidote. It gives you the space to pause before reacting, to listen before speaking, to understand before judging. It is the inner stillness that transforms every decision from chaos into clarity. I remember reading about a famous spiritual teacher who said that the greatest warriors are not those who fight the hardest, but those who remain calm amidst conflict. It is not strength that wins every battle, it is calmness. When your mind is calm, your heart is strong. When your mind is calm, you can respond rather than react. When your mind is calm, you are free from the slavery of your own emotions. And freedom, my friends, is the ultimate power in life. Cultivating calmness is not something that happens overnight. It is a skill, a habit, a daily practice. Meditation, reflection, mindful breathing, and even small moments of silence in your day all contribute to this inner sanctuary. The more you practice calmness, the more it becomes your default state, your natural response to life's turbulence. And the more calm you are, the more others are drawn to you. People instinctively seek the presence of someone who is steady, composed, and unshaken. Calmness is contagious. It uplifts not just you, but everyone around you. Another powerful aspect of calmness is that it allows you to face fear with courage. When fear arises, it clouds your judgment. Panic overtakes logic, but a calm mind can see fear for what it is, a signal, not a command. A calm heart can respond to fear with courage, and a composed spirit can navigate uncertainty with wisdom. This is why calmness is not the absence of emotion, but the mastery of emotion. It is the ability to feel deeply without being overwhelmed. In a world that is constantly rushing, where notifications ping every second, deadlines loom endlessly, and life seems to move faster than we can keep up with, calmness is a superpower. It allows you to slow down, to connect with the present moment, and to act with intention rather than reaction. It allows you to protect your peace, maintain your clarity, and live a life of purpose, regardless of external chaos. So, my friends, I urge you to cultivate calmness in your life. Do not wait for life to slow down, because it will not. Do not wait for the storm to pass, because storms are a part of life. Instead, develop the art of remaining calm in the eye of the storm. Practice patience, mindfulness, and self-awareness. And remember, calmness is not weakness, it is strength. It is your shield in chaos, your compass in confusion, and your light in darkness. The next time life throws a challenge at you, pause. Breathe, center yourself, respond with calmness, and you will discover that even the fiercest storm cannot disturb the peace that resides within you. This peace, this calmness, is not just a luxury, it is your greatest defense, your most powerful ally, and your path to a life of clarity, wisdom, and fulfillment. Have you ever wanted something so badly, worked so hard for it, and yet it didn't happen when you expected it to? Perhaps you studied for hours, gave your best in a project, or poured your heart into a relationship, only to feel frustrated when results were delayed. That frustration is natural, but it is also a sign that we have not yet fully understood the power of patience. Patience is not simply waiting. Patience is how we behave while we wait. And in life, this is often the very thing that determines whether we succeed or fail. Many people think patience is passive. They think it means doing nothing while life passes them by. But that is a misunderstanding. True patience is active. It is a conscious choice to trust the process, to persist, and to maintain faith, even when the path ahead is unclear. It is about planting seeds today, nurturing them, and knowing that growth takes time. It is about understanding that just because the fruit is not visible now does not mean it will never appear. Patience allows us to endure delays, setbacks, and challenges without losing our inner balance or giving up our dreams. I remember a time in my life when I was eagerly waiting for a major opportunity. I had prepared, worked tirelessly, and hoped for immediate results. But days turned into weeks, and weeks turned into months. Initially, I was restless. I questioned myself, am I doing something wrong? Is this opportunity never going to come? My mind was racing, my emotions were stirred, and I felt the urge to rush, to force, to control things beyond my power. Then I paused and reflected. I realized that impatience only clouds judgment, exhausts energy, and makes us lose sight of the journey itself. I decided to shift my perspective. I continued my efforts, but now with a sense of calm trust, understanding that life's timing is rarely aligned with our schedules. And then, when the time was right, everything fell into place effortlessly. That, my friends, is the power of patience. Patience teaches us the art of endurance. Life is not a sprint, it is a marathon. Every great accomplishment, every meaningful relationship, every personal transformation takes time. If we rush, we miss the lessons embedded in the journey. If we force outcomes, we risk breaking the very thing we desire. Patience allows us to learn, grow, and prepare ourselves for what is coming. It is not a delay, it is a preparation. A river does not carve a canyon overnight. It flows steadily, persistently, and with unwavering purpose. That is the essence of patience. Another dimension of patience is self-mastery. When we are patient, we gain control over our impulses, our emotions, and our reactions. It is easy to become frustrated when things do not happen immediately. It is easy to give up when progress seems slow. But patience trains the mind to remain steady, the heart to remain hopeful, and the spirit to remain committed. Patience is not just about waiting for the right moment. It is about transforming ourselves during the waiting period. The challenges we face, the delays we endure, and the obstacles we overcome while being patient all strengthen our character and prepare us for lasting success. I have seen countless people give up too soon because they lacked patience. A business fails not because the idea is bad, but because the owner expected overnight success. A relationship struggles not because the bond is weak, but because people want immediate perfection instead of gradual growth. A skill remains undeveloped not because it is unattainable, but because the learner loses faith in the time it takes to master it. Patience is the invisible force behind every enduring achievement. It is the silent companion of resilience, the steady rhythm of progress, and the unseen architect of success. Patience also brings clarity. When we are impatient, we often make decisions driven by fear, anxiety, or frustration. But when we are patient, we give ourselves the space to observe, reflect, and respond wisely. Patience allows us to see life as it is, rather than how we wish it would be. It helps us separate what is urgent from what is important, what is temporary from what is lasting. And in this clarity, we discover solutions that impatience would never have revealed. Perhaps the most beautiful aspect of patience is that it nurtures gratitude and contentment. When we are patient, we appreciate the small steps, the minor victories, and the subtle progress that we often overlook in our rush for immediate results. We learn to value the journey as much as the destination. We understand that life is not a race, but a series of moments, each with its own lesson, each with its own meaning. Patience allows us to savor these moments, to grow through them, and to prepare ourselves for the blessings that are coming. So, my friends, cultivate patience in your life. Understand that life has its own rhythm and timing. Do not despair when things take longer than expected. Do not give up when the path seems uncertain. Trust the process, nurture your efforts, and maintain faith in your journey. Remember that everything worth achieving, every dream worth realizing, every change worth making requires patience. Patience is not the absence of action, it is the presence of persistent, mindful, and disciplined action. And when you combine patience with strength and calmness, you become unstoppable. You are not merely surviving the storms of life. You are navigating them with grace, wisdom, and resilience. You are growing, learning, and preparing yourself for a life of fulfillment. Remember, the fruit of patience is sweet, enduring, and life-changing. It is the secret ingredient that turns effort into achievement, struggle into growth, and dreams into reality. So, whenever you face delays, setbacks, or frustrations, pause, breathe, and remind yourself this is not wasted time. This is preparation. This is growth. This is the journey shaping you into the person capable of handling the very success you seek. Patience is not just a virtue, it is your greatest ally, your silent strength, and the key to a life of lasting joy and achievement. Have you ever wondered why life often throws difficulties at the very moment you feel ready to give up? Why problems appear when you have just taken one step forward? It almost feels unfair, doesn't it? But here's the thing. Challenges are not obstacles meant to break you. They are opportunities, cleverly disguised, waiting for you to recognize them. Every challenge you face, every setback, every failure, every moment that tests your patience is a hidden lesson, a disguised blessing, a chance to grow stronger, wiser, and more resilient. Think about it. In life, the easiest paths rarely leave a mark on us. Smooth roads, effortless journeys, instant successes. They may bring comfort, but they rarely bring transformation. Transformation comes when life tests you, when it stretches your limits, when it forces you out of your comfort zone. And that is exactly what challenges do. They are like hidden classrooms. designed to teach you lessons you could never learn otherwise. The question is, will you see them for what they are, or will you complain, resist, and feel defeated? I remember a young man I once met. He had big dreams of starting his own business, but the journey was filled with obstacles. Investors said no. Partnerships fell apart. Clients disappeared. Every day seemed harder than the one before. And yet he did not give up. Instead, he chose to see every difficulty as a teacher. Each failure taught him better ways to communicate, plan, and strategize. Each setback revealed strengths he didn't know he had. What looked like misfortune at first became the very foundation of his success. Years later, when his business flourished, he said something that stayed with me forever. I am grateful for every challenge. Without them, I would never have become the person I am today. Challenges also reveal our inner strength. When life is easy, it is difficult to know the depth of your courage, patience, or resilience. But when you face adversity, you discover qualities you didn't know existed. You learn that you can endure more than you ever imagined. You learn that you can adapt, persist, and rise even when the world seems to have turned against you. Challenges are mirrors that reflect not what is missing in you, but what is already present, waiting to be awakened. Moreover, challenges foster creativity and innovation. When things are going smoothly, we rarely need to think outside the box. But when obstacles appear, we are forced to find new solutions, to invent, to improvise, to look at problems from a different angle. History is filled with examples of people whose greatest achievements came after facing their toughest trials. The difficulties they faced were not just hurdles, they were catalysts for breakthroughs. Your challenges, too, are calling you to discover new strengths, to unlock untapped potential, and to explore paths you never thought possible. There is another aspect of challenges that is often overlooked: humility. Challenges remind us that we are human. They teach us empathy, patience, and compassion. When life is easy, it is tempting to take everything for granted. But when life tests us, we understand the value of persistence, the importance of kindness, and the need for support. Challenges teach us gratitude for the small victories, for the people who stand by us, and for the lessons hidden in every experience. They shape not only what we achieve, but who we become. Let me share a story from my own life. There was a period when I faced multiple difficulties simultaneously. It felt as though life had conspired to push me to my limits. At first, I was frustrated and overwhelmed. I questioned why this was happening to me. But slowly, I realized that every challenge was an opportunity to grow. A conflict taught me the value of communication and patience. A professional setback taught me resilience and adaptability. A personal disappointment taught me humility and self-reflection. The challenges were not there to punish me. They were there to prepare me for something greater. By embracing them instead of resisting, I learned lessons that I could never have learned in comfort or ease. Challenges are also opportunities for perspective. When life is smooth, we often take things for granted. But when we face difficulty, we are forced to see clearly what truly matters. Relationships, integrity, effort, compassion, and patience. These are the treasures that challenges reveal. They help us understand that success is not just about achieving goals, but about how we grow, respond, and transform along the journey. Challenges are teachers of life's most valuable lessons, and the sooner we embrace them, the sooner we evolve. And here is the truth: the more you run from challenges, the more they will chase you. Life has a way of presenting exactly what we need to grow. The difference between those who flourish and those who falter is not the absence of obstacles, but the presence of the right mindset. When you face a challenge, pause, ask yourself, what is this teaching me? How can I grow from this? What opportunity is hidden here? When you approach challenges in this way, even pain becomes a teacher, failure becomes a mentor, and obstacles become stepping stones. So, my friends, do not fear challenges. Do not resent them. Do not see them as unfair punishments or unlucky circumstances. See them for what they truly are: opportunities in disguise. They are life's way of shaping you, strengthening you, and preparing you for something bigger than you can imagine. When you embrace challenges with courage, faith, and perseverance, you will discover that no storm can stop you, no difficulty can break you, and no obstacle can define you. Remember, diamonds are formed under pressure. Greatness is forged in adversity. Every challenge you face is a hidden gift, a chance to grow stronger, wiser, and more compassionate. So the next time life tests you, smile, stand tall, and say, thank you for this opportunity, because within every challenge lies the seed of transformation, and within every seed lies the potential for greatness. Have you ever noticed how often the hardest battles in life are not with others, but within yourself? It is easy to fight external challenges, to face a difficult situation, or to confront an obstacle. But the true test of strength, calmness, and patience lies in the battlefield of the mind. If you do not learn to control your mind will control you, shaping your actions, your emotions, and ultimately your life without you even realizing it. Our mind is a powerful tool, but it can also be our greatest enemy. It can be a source of clarity, creativity, and courage, or it can be a prison of fear, doubt, and distraction. Think about it for a moment. How many times have you worried excessively about things that never happened? How many times have you been paralyzed by fear of failure, only to realize later that there was no real threat? How many times have you allowed anger, jealousy, or resentment to take over, and then regretted your words or actions? That is the mind controlling you, rather than you controlling the mind. I remember a time in my life when my mind was a constant battlefield. I was anxious, restless, and consumed by thoughts of what could go wrong. I would imagine the worst case scenario in every situation, replay conversations in my head endlessly, and criticize myself for mistakes I had already made. My mind was like a wild horse, galloping in every direction, dragging me along without any control, and I realized that no matter how strong I was physically or how calm I tried to be outwardly, my mind was sabotaging me from within. It was then that I understood a simple truth. If you do not master your mind, mastery in life is impossible. Controlling the mind does not mean suppressing your thoughts or emotions. It does not mean becoming emotionless, robotic, or disconnected from reality. True control is about awareness, discipline, and choice. It is about observing your thoughts without being consumed by them, acknowledging your emotions without being controlled by them, and choosing your responses rather than reacting impulsively. It is the difference between a mind that reacts like fire burning everything in its path, and a mind that acts like water, flowing gently, adapting, and nourishing the life around it. Let me share a story from someone I knew. She was a student preparing for a highly competitive exam. Every day, doubts would flood her mind. Am I good enough? Will I fail? What if I'm not smart enough? These thoughts would paralyze her, making her procrastinate and lose focus. One day, a mentor told her, "Your mind is like a monkey. If you do not tame it, it will jump from tree to tree, dragging you along. But with awareness and discipline, you can ride it like a horse, and it will take you to places you never imagined." She began practicing meditation, mindfulness, and deliberate focus. Slowly, the storm of thoughts quieted. She learned to control her mind rather than be controlled by it. The result: not only did she excel in her exams, but she also found peace, clarity, and confidence that stayed with her long after. Controlling the mind also means letting go of unnecessary attachments. Many of our struggles arise because we cling too tightly to outcomes, expectations, or opinions of others. When the mind is obsessed with what it wants, it becomes restless. It becomes a source of suffering. But when we learn to let go, to focus on effort rather than results, and to accept life as it is, the mind becomes calm, clear, and powerful. A controlled mind is free from unnecessary turmoil. It does not mean giving up ambition or desire. It means guiding them wisely instead of being driven by them blindly. Another important aspect of controlling the mind is discipline. Just like muscles need exercise to grow strong, the mind needs training to gain mastery. Daily practices like meditation, journaling, reading, reflection, or even simply observing your thoughts without judgment strengthen the mind. They teach it to pause, to question impulsive reactions, and to respond with wisdom rather than emotion. Over time, a disciplined mind becomes a source of immense power. It can focus on goals, withstand stress, resist distractions, and make decisions that align with your highest values. Controlling the mind is also essential for inner peace. A restless mind is a source of constant anxiety, stress, and dissatisfaction. No matter how perfect your external circumstances may seem, if your mind is chaotic, you cannot experience true contentment. But a mind under control allows you to enjoy the present moment, appreciate what you have, and navigate life's ups and downs with grace. It allows you to respond instead of react, to think instead of panic, and to act instead of overthinking. I want to leave you with one final thought. Your mind is the captain of your ship. If the captain is untrained, panicked, or distracted, the ship will drift aimlessly, crash into obstacles, or sink in rough waters. But if the captain is aware, disciplined, and skilled, the ship can navigate storms, reach new horizons, and sail smoothly toward its destination. You may not control the winds, the waves, or the storms, but you can control your mind, the captain that steers your life. So, my friends, take charge of your mind today. Observe it, guide it, and train it. Do not allow fear, anger, or doubt to dictate your actions. Do not let stress, anxiety, or impatience steal your peace. Master your mind, and you will master your life. Strength without control is chaos. Calmness without control is fragile. Patience without control is directionless. But a mind under your guidance becomes your greatest ally, your silent force, and your path to fulfillment, wisdom, and freedom. Remember, control your mind, or it will control you. And when your mind is under control, there is no challenge too great, no fear too overwhelming, and no life too complicated. You will find clarity, courage, and power beyond measure.